continuing along on our series with all of these annotation tools that come with your MyndShare software, with your IFP. Let's take a look at a couple additional annotation type tools. Let me take a look at this PDF file. It's got a lot of words on it, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to magnify and I'm going to drag in a little bit, and I can drag it down so I can focus students' attention on it. One thing I want to take a look at is the highlighter tool. That is this blue pen on the left-hand side of your menu. If I click on the highlighter tool, I get different thicknesses that I can choose using this slider scale. And I have a couple different colors. I have purple, teal, I have a yellow, and a green. So let me go ahead and choose yellow. And I can, from here, kind of just highlight parts of the writing to draw students' attention to it. Certainly if I color over it more, it'll get darker. But that is the highlighting tool. I'm going to put a couple more highlights on here because I want to show you another tool in a second. So I'm able to highlight anything that I have up on my screen. Now what I want to draw your attention to is in the top right corner, there is a tool called Selection Tool. It is a square, it's a dotted line. If I click on that, it allows me to draw a square around all of the annotations that I've done. And essentially it selects all of them as one unit so that I can then click and I can just drag everything into the trash can if I want to. Again, you do have the clear screen options on the toolbar, but that's another option as well. Instead, if I don't want to clear the entire screen, I can choose the selection tool, just select those things I want to delete and drag them over to the trash can. Let's hop over to a blank Google Doc. What I want to take a look at here is if I go back to the media gallery, if you watched the last video, you know that the media gallery, we took a look at the math manipulatives and things that you could have put up on your screen. But let's take a look instead at the folder called Blank Charts and Diagrams. When I click on that, it gives me a bunch of literacy organizers that I could use. It also gives me Venn diagrams. Let's put in, why don't we go with this, kind of like a story map almost. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my cursor and I'm going to drag that over into the middle of my Google Doc. And from here I have a couple different options. One option is I can click on the handwriting recognition tool. That's the pencil with a line and the letter A next to it. And what happens here is if I begin writing, and I hit this return sign here, it recognizes my handwriting and then it goes ahead and puts it in as a text box with written text. So you can always write freehand, and if your writing is not very good, you hit the enter key and it converts it into typed text for you. Again, I'm going to go back to my selection tool. I'm going to see if I can select those two items. You know what it did is it selected the visual organizer well. So I'm going to hit the undo button. That's a little bit quicker anyway to go ahead and take that text off. But another option is if I want to bypass me handwriting everything, I can go ahead and click on the keyboard. That's right under the torch tool that looks like a flashlight. It's called the keyboard. It brings up the keyboard for me. If I hit the T button right next to the keyboard, it's a white T on a blue background, it will bring up a text box for me. And from here, I can go ahead and I can just type in what it is that I want to say. And I close it out. And then from here, I can just go ahead, click the cursor, and I can drag, I spelled character wrong, sorry, and I can drag that over here. If I want to edit that because I spelled it wrong, if I double click on it, I can click between the A and the T, and I can go ahead and I can actually write on my keyboard, it's probably the easiest, just put the C in like that. I can also highlight it, and what I could do then at that point is change the font size, I could change the color, I can center justify it, bunch of different options down here on this toolbar once I select the text that I want to manipulate and change. So I don't think I got over this particular point yet either. Let me go ahead and delete this. Again, if I click on it and I just drag it down to the trash can. Let's say on this document that I started out with, let's say that I wanted to make one piece of text larger. So in the last video we went over the window shade tool, and we also went over the torch tool that gave us that circle You might remember that torch tool looks like this, so I can zero in right on one specific word, or I can make it larger. But I also want to kind of talk to you a little bit about the magnification tool. That is, I'm looking for it right now, it's right here, it's a magnifying glass. It's right underneath the window shade, and what that allows me to do is drag a magnifying glass over different parts of the screen to make that part of the screen even larger than the rest of the text. Again, it kind of pops something out that I want to make sure students have, pay their attention to. And if I want to get rid of that, I just hit the X in the top right corner. So in this video, we took a look at the magnification tool, the highlighter tool. We took a look at inserting text. We also looked at that handwriting recognition tool for putting in text into a Word document or a Google Doc. We also looked under the media gallery and how we could add different organizers to our documents.